Sorry about the mess, guys, but is this in fact what I believe it to be? Let's find out. It should be a very special package. Hope I didn't break anything. Okay, good. It's just bubble wrap. Oh, I wonder what this could be. Oh, he's kind of a big box. Why did they use such a big box? You're telling me the tech retailer doesn't have a GPU box sized shipping box? That's interesting. All right. Let's get this out. All right, I've never bought anything from ASRock before, so I'm curious how this will turn out. But yeah, as you can see, it's a AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT. This, I believe, has a decently premium cooler on it. This opened up. Oh, that's interesting. This is supposed to be new. I don't understand why the box is like this. Uh-oh. That's a little sussy. I'm a little concerned. I'm hoping this is just an ASRock packaging thing and not bad news bears from Newegg. Alright, so let's get this open. Yeah, there's like a bit of a tear over here, and that wasn't me, that was already there. And this, again, this is supposed to be new, so a little bit concerning. I hope Newegg isn't trying to pull a fast one on me and ship me an RMA unit or something like that. Let's use both hands. Alright, it looks like this might have to be flipped around. There we go, ASRock box. Their tape here at least? No, interesting, alright. I really hope this wasn't open beforehand, because that's a bit of a... Watch this card be DOA. Okay, at least it's packaged decently. Let's check it out a little more. This is a monster of a card. Holy shit. Damn. How big is this compared to my... Ooh. Might just barely fit in the chassis. Some instructions, documentation. Take this out, I might need it. Holy moly. Alright, let's get my shoes on. Alright, shoes are on. Let's get DDU installed. Apologies for the mess. I apparently already had DDU on my PC. That's interesting. Anyways, let's run it. And, might want to disconnect from the internet. Be right back. Okay, so it closed Afterburner and Riva Tuner. That's fine. It's not like I'm using those right now. Yes, clean and shut down. So yeah, 6800 XT. As you may know, this is a 4K monitor. It's sort of like a 1440p beast, but works pretty decently in 4K as well. That's what I intend to use this for. I want to wait on this. Meanwhile, I'll go ground myself and I'll get the card prepped. I also got my shoes on. Don't worry. Man, I really hope this isn't like DOA already. Given how sus the packaging is. I really hope that's just an ASRock thing. I've never bought from them before. But anyways, let's open it up, I guess. Damn, this sticker here is kind of hard to... There we go. Alright. Alright, that's open. We're going to set it on Yeah, this is a beast of a GPU. Should just barely fit in my chassis. It's hilarious that it's only just barely going to fit. I seriously thought the 2080 was already pretty big, but damn, dude. Let's peel some of the peel off. I was originally thinking of getting an NVIDIA card, but I also wanted to play around with Linux a little bit. And also, I'm sort of just more of a Radeon guy, honestly. More of an AMD guy in general. Like, every CPU I've had has been AMD. Most of the GPUs I've had, they've been AMD. So it's not, this isn't foreign to me. Wouldn't really consider myself a fanboy for either side. I kind of like them both equally. But if I had like a preference, especially given Linux, probably Radeon. Just barely Radeon though. Really doesn't matter. It's just kind of like whatever technically suits me best. So there's that. So yeah, there's that. We're gonna keep the PCIe slot covers on there. Gonna ground once more. Dude, check out how thick this is. Oh, shit, okay, so here's like my box cutter. Like, it goes all the way up to like where the lever starts. I don't have a better scale, but like, damn, dude. Holy smokes. That's a thick card. It's not much thicker than my 2080 though, is it? Yeah, it's like a decent amount, I guess. Not much thicker though, that SSD. That SSD card should still fit. God damn. Decided to turn the flash on just so you can get a better look at it, but like, my hands are like about average. If we're being generous, slightly above average, but like, god damn, dude. Look at this thing. There's the fans. Phantom Gaming. This piece is RGB, I believe. Not that I cared too much. This fan is RGB too, but like, who's gonna see it? It's just kind of there. Oh, is there any... Okay, I was expecting peel on like the fan hubs, but that's fine. One more look at the old card. As you can see, my system's a little messy. I plan to clean it. Plan to clean it up a little bit. But yeah, it's actually shorter than this SSD card. As far as like thickness looks about the same. It's length that's the main issue, but it seems like, I mean, when I held it side by side, it seems like it would barely fit. So that's a good sign, I guess. All right, I think I've got everything unplugged. Pray for me. Let's hope that this works and I don't run into any issues. All right, finally got it in. Took me about an hour and a half of effort, but it's in. It just barely happens to fit, so that's good. But yeah, I got drivers installed and everything. So yeah. Oh man, that was tiring. But yeah, I had to end up getting rid of this because this is just like a GPU bracket. I lost a little plastic piece to it, so it's not like it was doing anything anyways. But yeah, I had to get rid of that because look how thick this thing is. There's like barely any space between this and my SSD card. So that's a little concerning, but hopefully it's fine. Oh jeez. So yeah, my bed is all dirty from doing that. I did this on my bed, so I'll have to wash this, but overall it's looking pretty okay. I'll be testing performance later. Hopefully all this effort is well worth it. All right, everybody, I'm back and I have DMC5 running. Recording this on my phone because I don't want the AMD encoder to mess up the performance, but we're running at like a really rock solid 120 FPS. I'm gonna move the camera around a bit. Basically doesn't even move. It's kind of insane. And then it's at like 74 or 65. It's kind of dropping a bit. Let's do some attacks just to give it something to render. Damn, I hope you heard that. I did like 4 judgment cuts without even looking. All right, cool. Can I do more? Uh-oh. Damn, I almost did it. Ooh, okay. But yeah, it's like not even moving. Oh yeah, for you skeptics who say I can't do 4 judgment cuts and I'm faking it, I'll show you. I'll do it with one hand. Uh-oh. Is this where I fail? As soon as I start showing it? Okay, let me do this with my other hand. Dude, come on! There we go. The problem is I'm looking at the phone screen. Oh, come on. Why can't I do it when I'm not trying? Oh my... If you guys saw the particle effect in the previous clip, you know I can do it. Oh Lord. Also, listen to how silent this is. Like pushing 120 frames and it's not even making any noise. Like I straight up can barely hear it. That's insane, dude. Okay, one more go. Okay, I knew I could do it. There we go. There's the proof. All right, now we are recording on my desktop. Please excuse any noise you may hear in the background, but we have this working now. We're still getting that awesome 120 FPS despite recording, so that's cool. Let's see if I'm dropping any frames. I may have dropped a few. That should be fine. Now let's play like an actual level just to get an idea of performance. Let's see if it actually drops at all. Oh yeah, I actually learned just recently that if you do this and then you teleport, you can actually cancel that animation. Oh my god, I missed it again. Okay, I have no excuse this time. I'm just bad. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my eyes on the frame rate counter. Playing good is not my priority right now. Not that I'm able to play this game well in the first place. Listen to that GPU. Let's play another level. Maybe I'll play better on this one. Watch it be a bad one. Oh, is this the one with the... Yeah, there we go. It's the one with the big dude. I forget his name. Oh shit. I was worried that other guy was gonna get me. But if you're looking here, we're dropping like 3 frames at most. That's all I've seen. I'm at like almost max settings. I think I have it on FXAA. I don't know, let's look. I normally don't play it like settings this high. I think I cranked it like almost to the max. Oh yeah, I'm using RSR, which is like driver level FSR. The rendering method. Yeah, I mean everything's basically on ultra. Okay, shadows can technically go higher. We'll keep them high though. I think ultra shadows, especially on like RE Engine games, are not really worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like max settings, which is really impressive. And this is like really close to 4K too. I think it's technically a lower resolution than I was recording at in NVIDIA. I was using NVIDIA image scaling, which I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I think it's technically a larger resolution than the larger base resolution than the FSR. Even though, honestly, oh, dude, I can't believe I did that. I have too much fun with this game. I don't like those guys. I really like that I can do that. These guys get so annoying because they move around so much. Let's juggle. Do another super. Okay, now I'm starting to play better now that I'm kind of used to it. Yeah, I'm basically only seeing like 3 frames drop. Okay, there was 7 right there, but like, that's not a big deal. I should also mention I have a FreeSync monitor, so it's not really like it's... it's not really like I noticed that 7 frames. Like, if I turned this really off and like played like this, you wouldn't be able to prove to me that I dropped frames. Like, I would have zero idea. I'm gonna wait on this guy. Oh my god, I was so worried I let that hit me. That would have been so embarrassing. Seems like I always get embarrassed when I record. When I'm not recording, I play like a god. Not that I can prove it, because I'm not recording when it happens. Alright, that's probably a long enough recording. I'm going to proxy this and then see how it turns out. Whoops. Alright, now I am recording my display. I'm looking at all the footage that I proxied. By the way, this is a proxy, so not representative of like the final output. I would love to show you the final output, but I'll play that. Let me mute that. Wait, does it want to run properly now? Oh, okay. You guys are kind of seeing what I'm... So, yeah, I can't watch it at full quality, so if I want to watch something or preview it, I gotta do it at I gotta do it in a proxy. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this, like, it's basically dropping like 5 FPS, like 7, and this is at stock settings. So I mean, if I overclocked, I could probably get this at like a no matter what, just like locked at 120. Though DMC5 is a really well optimized game, but I'm surprised recording on the AMD encoder didn't take too much performance away from this, because like when I play this without recording, it's like the same gist, really. So I don't know if it's recording off of the Ray accelerators or AMD has like some other dedicated hardware. They're kind of mimicking NVIDIA on a lot of stuff, I've noticed. But yeah, like I was saying, like if I overclocked, like I could basically get it to not drop frames at all, like never lose sight of that like frame cap. So I think I might overclock it. And like another cool thing is like during this entire recording session, I like almost never heard the GPU spin up. Like the only time I ever heard it spin up was like when I first launched Windows and it was using that basic display adapter, so not really something that counts. But the second time I've only ever heard it spin up is when I was actually proxying this, when I had it in media encoder and I was re-rendering it out, and it took like 30 seconds to re-render this. It's a 6-minute clip though. What's the file size on this actually? What is the file size on the original file? 10 gigs. I imagine if I did 30 minutes like all of my other footage, would probably be decently big. I don't know, let's see. Go to my editor folder. I have really big footage. I should show you guys how ridiculously big my footage gets. Yeah, like this is like 100 gigs. That's like half of a Warzone install right there. This is like another 100 gigs, 108, yeah. Like, this is straight up, you can install Warzone if I deleted these 2 clips. And just for shits and giggles, there's a Virgil one. Oh, this is 122 gigs. Like, this is basically an entire, like, low-end SSD. Just these 3 clips. But I have proxies of these, naturally. Even when I had my NVIDIA GPU, I had to make proxies. Not to preview them, but, just to edit with them. I'm sure anyone who's edited 4K could tell you need proxies. But, let's go back to this folder. So I imagine if I had... Which one is the non-proxy? This one. So I imagine if I had recorded this at full quality for like 30 minutes, it would be a pretty massive file. It's not as efficient as NVIC, I don't think. Can I do... That was really weird. It said it was full screen, but it wasn't. Let's pause just so like you can get an idea of how it looks. It's like, it like doesn't look too bad when you like pause it and you look at like one specific frame. This is at the high preset in OBS too. Like, this isn't even like indistinguishable recording, but like this is like pretty crisp. You can't really tell. It's a different encoder, honestly. Like, this looks about as good as my original footage, and this is like a technically lower resolution too. I think it's like missing, let's say like 100 pixels on both. Like, if we were to combine like both height and width, I think I showed you earlier, it was 3200 by 1800, something like that. I think it was, when I had NVIC, it was like 3240 something, 3246, something like that. Or 3286, and then it was like 18 I don't know, I'll just guess 64. It's probably not that's probably not it, but like it's like maybe like slightly over 100 pixels I'm missing out on, which isn't a big deal. It's like virtually the same thing. But I mean, yeah, I'm pretty impressed. This is my footage encoder, by the way, media encoder. It took me like a few minutes. Not even like a few minutes, like 1 minute. So far, like, really impressed with this card. Like I said, the fan didn't even spin up at all. It's like insane how well it works. Alright, now I'm recording in Resident Evil 2. And in my Resident Evil update video, I mentioned that it took like decent amount of compromises to get the game to run well in 4K at like 60 FPS. Guess what? With ray tracing on, and I had to run it on low. And see this? I can actually use it on like max, which is pretty insane. And then I can also use FSR and ultra quality instead of just balanced. And then look at this. I actually got a better experience. I'm at like 80 FPS, like. Go out here. I hear Mr. X kind of roaming around. I'm at like 60 right now. Really wish I could move the Resident Evil 2 window. I don't know why some builds of the RE engine, they just kind of decided to not let you move the window. So DMC5, they let you do it. Resident Evil 7, they let you do it. For some reason, not Resident Evil 2 or 3. It's very jank in that regard. Yeah, I'm getting chased by Mr. X right now. But yeah, I'm basically like staying above 60, and I'm running at higher settings too. Oh yeah, I also mentioned that I usually play with like shadows toned down. I think in this, I'm literally, like, running them at max. Oh, no, I'm running it at high. But, like, I turned mesh quality to max. That for sure I kept on, like, high. And then I have textures at, like, the highest quality as well, because I have a lot more VRAM to work with. I changed the anti-aliasing to SMAA. I think everything else is pretty, like, on par. I turned off these 2 options because they kind of annoyed me a bit. But, like, Yeah, this is like pretty good. Considering I was able to turn up the ray tracing and everything, so I'm really liking this. And I'm recording too, and I'm still maintaining like above 60. So this card, it's like, I was expecting a decent upgrade, because it's like an 80 class card to another 80 class card, just in a different generation. But like, this is really impressive. I wasn't expecting this big of a jump, so that's really cool. Resident Evil 7, for some reason, I was actually getting like worse performance than Resident Evil 2, which is so odd because in my on my NVIDIA GPU it was the other way around. Like Resident Evil 7 was the one that ran awesome, and then Resident Evil 2 was the one I had to compromise on, and then for some reason it's the opposite now. But that's fine, I'll take it. They both perform better in general, which is what I was looking for. And I am back. So we have Resident Evil Village loaded up right now. My audio's working, right? Yeah. So we have Resident Evil Village loaded up right now. And this is post overclock. So I was doing a little bit of testing around this scene. I was getting around, let's say like 100 FPS, sort of like low hundreds. I did a quick overclock and I managed to gain an extra 10 FPS from it. At least on average, that's usually what I get from it. And this is running like max settings pretty much. I have ray tracing turned up to high as well. If the footage looks a little desaturated, it's because I'm also running this in HDR, so naturally an SDR capture like this might get a little screwy, but if you can just ignore the colors for now. But yeah, while I was doing my overclock, I had this game open. It was kind of cool that you can overclock while you have a game open, by the way. That was really helpful. I didn't want to do like a super time-consuming benchmark. This is sort of like a quick and dirty overclock. So what I did was I stood around Louise's house. I kind of sat here for a second, let all of the outside area out there occlude a bit and unload. And then after that, I just started running away from Louise's house. Started running down this way, and then just kept an eye on the frame rate, turned around, and then I kind of went back this way. And I basically did this a bunch. And each time I tweaked something in the settings, I would tweak it by like 10 or so megahertz. I did like really small steps, so I wanted something I could test that would go really fast, that would kind of stress the GPU a little bit. So far it's pretty stable. I've got I'll have to post a screenshot of my final results, but like I've gotten a pretty absurd like overclock and undervolt going like simultaneously, and that was actually pretty nice. There is a little bit of a performance hit from playing in HDR, I've noticed. When I have this running in a SDR, I was at like a flat 120 hertz standing here, or 120 FPS, and then around this area I was usually around, let's see, like 100, 107 I would say. So sort of just add 10 to what the frame counter is already. That was pretty much where it was. So turning on HDR, since this is an HDR monitor, kind of came at the cost of like 10 FPS, but that's fine. Because like I said in my DMC footage, like if I totally turn this off, you practically couldn't convince me that this wasn't 120 hertz. I would be all like, yeah, you're fooling with me. This looks pretty good. And obviously in 60 FPS footage, like what I'm recording now, really doesn't make a difference. But yeah, that was sort of my testing run. I got the biggest performance boost from naturally turning up the power usage, or just allowing my GPU to use more power so it can use that higher clock. That was sort of like the biggest hit, and then the second biggest increase came from when I switched memory usage to memory timings to fast instead of normal. I believe the 6000 cards, the Radeon 6000 cards, they're sort of limited by memory bandwidth, so I'm not entirely sure how timings has anything to do with it. But it totally could. But yeah, it seems like memory's sort of like that memory timing thing did a pretty decent amount. Memory clock speed itself doesn't seem to have much of an impact. I've noticed it, and as a matter of fact, I brought it up to the highest value I could bring it to before I started getting massive performance dips. So around the 2100 megahertz mark. If I went past that, I instantly started dropping like 20 frames. So I definitely carried that to the max, but it's stable. Like everything I'm talking about, it is stable. And then I also have an undervolt going too. You can see I'm at like 70 degrees, which is pretty good. Considering like I'm at like 98% usage, I'm almost at like 2.6 megahertz. Or 2.6 gigahertz, I should say. So that's pretty insane. I'm really liking the results so far. And it's drawing like a decent amount of power. Like it's kind of creeping up to 300. I think max I've seen it get up to is 303. So yeah, let's just play some... Let's just play like a little bit of Village, just naturally. Keep an eye on the frame rate counter. The game does look awesome though, I'm not gonna lie. Like an HDR, and then you have this amazing beast of a GPU kind of running it. It's at like max settings. The ray tracing looks pretty nice. Like this is pretty amazing. Honestly, I really like this. So what's my current objective on this save file? Find the house with the red chimney. Alright. I know what I gotta do. I believe we go this way, right? It's been about a year since I really sat down and played this. Oh, right. I gotta go through here. But like we're kind of hovering around the hundreds. This is upscaled 4K. I'm using FSR, but still pretty good. It's not like I really notice a visual difference, so I'll take it. My aim is bad, I should warn you. What difficulty am I on? I think I'm on hardcore. I really don't like Village of Shadows in this game. It's sort of like a meme difficulty. I really like hardcore a lot better. I've beaten the game on Village of Shadows, but it was not fun. It was really not fun. Kind of wondering what the point of that mode is. Other than to troll people, I guess. Get that down. I usually play 7 more than I play Village, but Village is just like a lot more demanding. So that's sort of why I'm playing this. Not that I dislike Village, I love this game a lot. Okay, this dude's gonna pop out through the window. But yeah, I mean like 115 right there, 119. Like this is really enjoyable. There we go, there's that. Let me pick up the lay. What was the code again? I used to know it by heart. Let's see, 070408. Yeah, like a year ago, I was basically like, oh, this is 4. There we go. Get the jack. Give me that. About a year ago, I was playing this game constantly because I loved it so much. Oh, right, these guys. Do I even have enough ammo to deal with these guys? Okay, I'll use the boss gun. Yeah, this is really enjoyable. If I didn't use this Wolfsbane, I probably would have said, hey, maybe I am good at this game. You can see I'm definitely not good at it. I just tried to put a treasure map right there. And I can, like, barely hear the GPU fan. You might be picking up a little bit of something in my mic. I'm pretty sure that's just ambient. That's sort of there, regardless of what I do. I do have, like, all the fans in my room turned off as well. But, like, only fan going is like my PC fans. Oh, right, this guy. You know, if you told me I was going to be able to play a game in like 4K at 120 FPS and I could do it now, like I wouldn't have to wait till next gen. Like I probably would have called you crazy, but I mean, it's happening. I mean, here it is. If I lowered like a few settings, I could definitely have it. What are my settings at right now, actually? Display. Do I have shadows on high? I might have shadows on high. I usually don't like it on max. Yeah. I mean, everything else is, well, except for the annoying stuff like film noise. Everything else is like on. And set to high. Like, if I was willing to compromise a little bit, like especially if I set ray tracing down a little bit, I imagine. Like, if I set this to, like, medium. Let's keep light reflection. Yeah, I don't see much of a difference in that preview image. Let's see. Okay, it didn't go up that much. That's fine, because there's also not really a difference in visuals right now. Oh, this guy. Quickly put in the key. I really wish you could duck under attacks in this game like you could in 7. Okay, come on, let me climb. This is a well-worthy replacement of my 2080 Super. Like, 2080 Super, that's a really good card. Like, 4K... Oh, that door's locked. Like, 4K 60 FPS, that's 2080 Super power. Like, you could do that pretty easily if you really wanted to. You could do that with a 1080 Ti if you're willing to not buy into ray tracing. But, like... Man, this card is just insane. Like, the 2080 Super was a really good card, but I've had like a... Oh, we can skip this. Like, 2080 Super, that's like a really good card. Regardless, but like, it wasn't too fit for my system. It didn't have the best cooler on it. It was like a Dell OEM 2080 Super, and it got the job done. It was a really good card, like I said, but this card just has like a way better cooler on it, and then it's also just a lot more powerful. I did take that 2080 Super and give it a new lease on life in a different PC that was tied to oh, let's get out of here. This music. Okay, you can stop. Cool. So anyways, it has a new lease on life now inside of a PC that's connected to a 1080p display. So very overkill for that, but it's a good use because it doesn't have to have a good cooler for that kind of use case. I might decide to like water cool it in the future just because I don't like wasting hardware. I want to find some reason to use it. So I think water cooling it would be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, so far no major stutters, nothing like. This card is just flat out amazing. I'm really impressed with it. Alright, so we've got a mission loaded in DMC5 now. This is post-overclock, and basically not dropping so far. Like, straight up, I haven't seen that number move at all. So let's see, can we make it drop? I've also loaded a much more elaborate map too. Dude, even with that effect coming out of the ground, still hasn't dropped. Let's see. Can I make this game lag? Just 1 frame. Oh, we did it. 2 frames. Oh my god, I missed it. I'm not gonna go for judgment cuts. Actually, let's turn this down. I know I should have let the thing hit him, but I'm I'm just watching the frame rate counter. Not trying to play well right now. Oh, I meant to do the forward. Oh well. Like I said, not trying to play well. That's not my priority. Okay, what about this guy? Where's he coming out? He's coming out right here. Okay. You gonna bully me or not? There we go. That guy taken care of. So yeah, last time I was on a Bloody Palace level, which is basically a platform in a skybox and like a couple enemies. So naturally it didn't really drop any frames there. It still did occasionally, but oh whoops. That's fine, we'll take it. Remember, this is running in HDR too, so it should be dropping about like 10 frames, but it still hasn't. Go for the million stab. I really liked how silly this move looks. So yeah, in a more elaborate game like Village, of course it's going to drop frames, but here it's like, when a frame drops, it's almost like it didn't happen. It's so minimal and it happens like so briefly. Can I do judgment cuts? I was playing the game on PS5 yesterday, so now I'm used to the judgment cut timing on turbo mode, which there is no turbo mode on PC. There's a mod for it. I should get that mod, but no turbo mode on vanilla PC. Little absurd that special edition isn't on PC, but whatever. Capcom's gonna be weird like that. Okay, can I get used to the normal timing? There we go. Oh, I missed that. I missed the taunt. Oh, I wasn't expecting it to do that one. That kind of screwed up what I was trying to do. Alright, who's gonna attack? Dude, I totally let myself get hit by that. That would suck. Oh, no. At least I'm failing very fluidly, though. Like, it practically only drops when it does that zoom in effect. Which is fine, because I'm not playing during that, so it really doesn't matter. Like, my inputs feel amazing. During the parts where they actually matter. And I'm someone who's like pretty sensitive to input lag, so if I was feeling some lag, I would tell you. I would be the first to complain. Yeah, this is going beautifully. Again, a way more elaborate map with way more elaborate lighting. It's running in HDR. It's like virtually the same performance we were getting earlier. Let's load up Bloody Palace. If I wasn't recording right now, I probably wouldn't be dropping frames at all. I did notice I got slightly better performance in Village when I wasn't recording, when I was doing the overclocking last night. Oh my god, you did not see that. Yeah, I'm using that one move that created that minor lag spike earlier. It's not doing much. So it must have just been the map. But yeah, like I said, Bloody Palace is just like a platform in a skybox. Couple mountains. It's not really that computationally expensive. And as I expected, we're not really dropping anything. Virgil's cringing. I noticed in my Village footage you could hear my keyboard a bit, but like not the GPU fan, which is pretty sick. And you can probably hear my controller. I don't like playing DMC with keyboard. I'm sure most people can understand that. Village and 7 though. Well, 7's kind of weird. I like playing 7 with controller and then Village with keyboard. It's really weird. I don't know why I do that. It just feels better. Seven isn't as like arcadey as Village, so that must be why. No, go after the other bug. That was so cringe. Oh yeah, I should probably use my super moves. I imagine Street Fighter 6 is gonna run like this. I can imagine Street Fighter 6 is gonna be more on like the optimized side, and less like Village, where it's just kind of like very focused on the visuals. Oh, that was by accident, but I'll take it. I'm kind of curious how Street Fighter 6 is gonna do a frame rate cap now that you think about it, because in Street Fighter 4 they let you get away with playing at 120 FPS. And Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2, like the game just didn't care, and it didn't screw with like frame data or anything like that. But like Street Fighter 5 was very anal about it. Street Fighter 5 was like, you're gonna play with VSync and you're gonna play at 60 FPS. I don't care. You gotta do what I say. So really curious how Street Fighter 6 will turn out in that regard. Sure, it'll be fine though. Alright, and now we are playing Resident Evil 2. Except, wait a gosh darn second here. What is Rainen doing? He can see his hands. That's right, I'm playing with the first person mod. This mod's actually really cool. I just loaded a random save file. I didn't really pick it. I didn't really pick one strategically. I can see all the comments talking about my fisheye lens, but this is how I play, dude. I came from Quake, I gotta have that 120 FOV. See, let's just try to like fight some zombies. How much ammo do I have? I can't see the bottom right of my screen again, because like I said, I can't. I can't even fucking move the window. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, let's fight a zombie. 100 FPS. I think I'm getting better frame rate than I did last time, though it could be because I'm in a different area. Dude, I've never been grabbed by a zombie before in first person. That was scary. I'm running. I don't want these guys to grab me. What? I don't have the key for that yet? Okay, now we're at kind of like the frame rate I was expecting. Kind of insane that this game's more intense than Village. Grabbing that was a little awkward. Probably because I was sprinting. You sprint and then try to strafe? Yeah. So if I want to strafe, I better be walking. This game looks really cool in first person. Let me try to load a more brightly lit area. Dark room, main hall. There we go. This is sort of what I was hoping for. So 70 FPS. You can like really admire the ray trace GI and all the textures when you're in the first person mod too. Like this looks pretty sick. Even though I can only see a fraction of it. But when I was playing this in full screen, it looked amazing. Let's go through here. So, some of you might be asking the all-important question, Rainin, why did you buy this card? Next gen is launching in like a few months. Well, it's because I needed more than one card. I plan to build several systems down the line, and the GPU shortage is letting up a little bit. We're actually starting to see cards at MSRP. This card is actually pretty much about what a 6800 XT should be worth. It was like $680, and I can imagine paying $30 for like the really expensive premium cooler on it. So this is about what I probably would have paid for it in an alternate dimension where the shortage didn't happen. Not dimension, alternate timeline. Where the shortage never happened, which is good. Ideally it should be cheaper, but after seeing them for like way overpriced, I'll take it. After having to put up with that for 2 years. I was playing this game in VR too, and it's pretty sick. Oh, AC just kicked on. That's good. That'll help my temps. I'm kind of getting hot anyways. Like I said, I usually play with my fans on. Speaking of fan, like, I can hear my GPU fan, but like, it's not that bad. Like, just barely. And if I put my headphones back on, it's almost not even there. And like, even if I was gaming with like a sound bar, because I do have one, if I was using my sound bar right now, like if I had guests over, still wouldn't be a big deal. Could easily overpower the fan. That's sort of one really... The fans are something I really appreciate about this card. It has like a 0 RPM mode. So when it's not under like intense load, it'll still... Like, it'll still work, obviously. But like, it'll just not spin up the fans because it doesn't really need to. Which is really much appreciated. Because one time, when I was using my RX 570 in this machine... I had my friends over and we were watching a movie, and like, it was really distracting having the GPU fan just like screeching right next to us while we were trying to watch a movie. So this will be very much appreciated. And like, the crazy thing is, even with like the fan, I was ramping the fan speed to like 100, just curious what it would sound like. It still sounds really like not distracting. Like, the only distracting thing is maybe like the pitch of the sound, and then that's it. I'm just gonna be a bloke and use one of these just to make the view bobbing a little less intense. Absolute bloke. I'm not British at all, if you couldn't tell. Dude, it's so crazy playing this game in first person. Holy crap. And then with a frame rate this good too. This is actually really immersive. Damn, dude, I should just sit down and play the whole game like this. Should really do that sometime. Do I have the blue key on this save? Yes, I do. Alright, let's check this area out. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I kind of need more GPUs anyways. A couple, because I plan to build several machines. Okay, that was loud. Does this mute, or does it just make it quiet? Oh, that mutes. Okay. I'll have to keep it at that then. But anyways, I happen to need to build several machines, so as you can imagine, I need to have several displays, processors, and both of those machines, I'm building a render farm, and then I'm also building a NAS that also operates as a Plex server. So like, I need some sort of encoder on both of those. The server farm is also a capture system, just so I don't have to capture on one PC. And I'm building these systems for fun, by the way. It's not that I necessarily need them. It's just like a cool project. I want to know how to build those kinds of things, because I've built I built like 6 PCs so far, and they've all been gaming PCs, so it would be really nice to learn how to build like a more function-oriented one. But yeah, I'm gonna need more cards anyways, and I was like, screw it, I'll just buy 6800 XT right now. And then the cool thing about that is if the 7000 series launches, or like the 4000 RTX cards launch, and scalpers buy them all up, I'm not at a loss because I still have this card, and I could just get them back when they're available, and hopefully there's not going to be another shortage right away when there's not going to be a shortage repeating itself when the new cards come out. But yeah, normally I wouldn't recommend anyone buy any cards right now because the retailers, they're really desperate to get rid of them. Let's check out this cutscene. Actually, I'm curious what this cutscene looks like in first person. Oh, this does look pretty sick. Obviously, it's doing a lot of like unloading. The cutscenes were clearly not meant to be seen this way, but that should be expected. Holy crap, this looks really good though. Is this save on hardcore or standard? Oh, it's on standard, okay. Oh, I can't waste a healing item. I gotta straight up throw it away. Damn. Damn, this game hates me. I'm just kidding. But I do need these. And I'm not playing to win, I'm playing to demonstrate. My most famous quote ever. What's up? What's up, buddy? Stay down. Hey, I told you to stay down. Oh my god, I missed that. I missed that. He's after me. I'm running. I kind of like really underestimated how well these cards can do ray tracing, because like in my RE Engine video, I talked about how the 6000 series doesn't do ray tracing that well, but I'm kind of willing to walk that back, because like I was able, in that video I was doing low ray tracing on my 2080, but right here we got gotta set it to high. So I mean, it's pretty sick. Just for shits and giggles, on some game I've been stacking FSR and then RSR on top of each other. It actually doesn't look too bad. It's kind of funny how well it works. Dude, I can't get over this game in first person. It feels wrong, but it's also so enjoyable. But yeah, ray tracing on these cards, like, damn, dude, they do it a lot better than that 2080 did. Actually, really cool. Go to the library. Check out this area. Oh, I've never climbed up a ladder in this mod before. That was kind of cool. Dude, seeing my legs and body like this too. I'm so not used to it. Oh yeah, I saw an article earlier and it said something about like how people didn't really like the ray tracing that was in the new update for like Resident Evil 2 and 3, and I was like, what? This looks really good. I think people had their expectations a little too high, which is something I did mention in my video. It's not gonna completely... Oh, I forgot about that. It's not gonna completely like revolutionize how the game looks. It's just a different way of rendering it. And it's gonna have its downsides and its upsides, just like anything else. Can I go through here? Did I unlock this yet? Okay, cool. What's up? I just want to go in that room for fun. Oh, opening doors. Oh, that looks kind of cool. I'm surprised how well like the third-person animations work for this. Like, this is really cool. It kind of reminds me of a Kingdom Come Deliverance, where like the animations aren't really made for first person; they're kind of made for third person. It's that really jank immersion that I loved in that game, and now it's like in this game. Anyways, before I wander off more, I should probably end it here.
Damn, dude, I went through all the effort of installing a new card. I didn't even introduce you to the system it's installed in. So this is Devil Sword Dante. At least that's what I called it. I called it that because it looks kind of like the sword, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is my 4K capable video editing workstation. I guess technically not a workstation because it's consumer level, but it's not HEDT. You know, it's quite powerful. Also quite pricey, so it better be. But yeah, just figured I would quickly introduce you to this system.
So I wanted to record a really quick voiceover just to wrap up my thoughts. The card has actually greatly exceeded all of my expectations, which is really nice. I was very easily hitting 4K 120 FPS in fully rasterized games, and I was even getting that level of performance in ray trace games even. For a card that most people would associate with 1440p, it actually does 4K extremely well. And I'll be getting back to 1440p in just a second. First, I want to go over some of the pros and cons of upgrading to this card, and one of them is I'm actually able to squeeze every feature out of my monitor. So I'm doing 4K, I'm doing 120 FPS, I'm doing HDR. Granted, it's not the best HDR, it's only HDR 600, so it's a little cringe, but just for shits and giggles, I'm doing HDR. It is FreeSync too, so it has FreeSync integrated into it. And this is really nice because not that long ago, if you would have told me I could squeeze every feature out of my monitor simultaneously, I would have told you were crazy. Like, I would have thought this would be a next generation sort of deal, but I mean, here it is. We have it today. And this card being so great for so many different things that I happen to need it for makes it all that more frustrating that it was so difficult to get my hands on, and I basically had to wait 2 years just to experience one. I was actually originally shooting for a 6900 XT, though eventually I kind of dialed it back and went for the 6800 XT, and that ended up being the better decision anyways because I saved a decent amount of money even with the hefty discount on the 6900. And I was basically able to overclock this to 6900 XT level performance anyways, so really wasn't worth the extra money for the 6900, honestly. I also really like the video encoder, and in a weird way, I think I might actually like it more than NVENC, which is the last thing I was expecting to say, but it's true. It gets me roughly the same quality in footage, but at the same time, the file sizes are a lot smaller. And while I was editing this video, it made editing a lot easier because Adobe was playing with them better. Premiere didn't stutter as much when it was trying to run this footage. Even when I proxied it, sometimes I would proxy footage and it would still run like ass with my NVENC footage. This isn't me bashing NVENC, this is just me being really surprised with how good the AMD encoder is. I was actually expecting that to be the main downgrade with this card, but it ended up being an upgrade, surprisingly. Overall, 99% of this card I'm just in love with. It just does more than what I was expecting to, and naturally it does everything that I need it to, which is really nice. It really makes me happy that I spent money on it because I did pretty much pay MSRP for it 2 years down the line, which typically is a not ideal case for buying a GPU. To get with some of the cons though, I did run into a few of the AMD driver issues. Not that many, to be honest with you. I've only had the card for like half a month at this point, so it's not like I've had a lot of time to run into a lot of them. After the new AMD drivers came out, the one that introduced the AI noise filtering, whatever they want to call it, after that driver came out, I installed it, and then I noticed that my PC was running very wonky after that. I would have to reset my GPU. I think there's like a Windows hotkey for it too. Wasn't it like Windows Control Shift B, something like that, some weird shit? But anyways, I would have to do that and then just kind of like hope it didn't start doing that again, which is a little annoying. I had to completely factory reset my GPU and then kind of reconfigure my drivers again, which is it was not fun, but it also wasn't the worst thing in the world. Honestly, as far as drivers go, that is about it. Again, I haven't had the card for too long, so I can't speak too in depth about it. I'm going to be completely honest with you though, I've actually had more driver issues with NVIDIA than I have with AMD. It's really weird. It seems like I just get really lucky with AMD cards, because like I know people who have no problems with NVIDIA and then for some reason have a lot of them with AMD. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just lucky. Honestly though, I'll take the weird driver stuff occasionally with any vendor compared to what Intel is doing with their GPUs right now, because it's a hot mess over there. The other issue I had wasn't necessarily to do with the fact that it was an AMD card. It was more to do with the fact that it was an ASRock card. You see, ASRock, for heaven knows what reason, decides to lock their RGB software behind you having an ASRock motherboard, and I don't have an ASRock motherboard. I have an ASUS motherboard, because that's sort of what I've had this entire time, and the ASUS BIOS is like my favorite, so naturally I bought an ASUS motherboard. I've worked with Gigabyte boards, I've worked with MSI boards, I've even worked with ASRock boards, but ASUS has sort of been the one that I ended up enjoying using the most, funnily enough. But yeah, in my footage you may have noticed that I turned the RGB on the card completely off, and that's not by accident. That's because if you don't have an ASRock motherboard, your only options for RGB is on, which means rainbow, or off, which means absolutely no light at all. A little annoying because I've had other GPUs, like I had a Gigabyte GTX 1080 that had its own dedicated software that didn't require me to buy a specific motherboard to change the RGB on it. So little annoying that ASRock does that. I see zero good reason to lock a feature like this behind a motherboard. And then while I'm not disappointed with the card necessarily, I am a little disappointed with Newegg, because the condition that the card came in doesn't seem like it was new. There was like a little crack on the power connector when I was installing it for heaven knows what reason, and then there wasn't any tape on the boxes. The boxes also, you kind of saw it a little bit earlier when I was unboxing it, the boxes were kind of like peeling off, or like they were already kind of torn. So I'm a little confused as to how on earth that happens. Maybe Newegg either didn't package it well, or someone in the receiving department just decided to drop kick it or something. I don't know. I never know what goes on at the receiving departments in those fucking retailers. I used to work at a retailer, and the receiving department was always where shit went wrong for some reason, so but I would not consider this card new condition, so I might refrain from buying a GPU from Newegg. I already had reasons to not like buying from Newegg, but like this might be the final nail in the coffin where I'm like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna buy a GPU from these guys. They can't even store a box correctly, apparently. Either they took like an open box or an RMA card and then just decided to sell it new when there was obviously usage and wear on it. Like, it still had the little plastic peel, but like I said, the power connector was cracked, and I don't understand how you can do that. So a little concerning. Probably shouldn't have been marked as new, but that's a Newegg problem, not a problem with the GPU. And I'll just not do business with Newegg, or at least do limited business with Newegg, if that's going to be the case. But yeah, those are the cons. Like, overall, the card is just really great, and I also really miss the AMD software. We're going to go back to a few pros again. I really miss the AMD software. switching to that 2080 made me realize just how much I hated control panel and GeForce experience. Like, why do I have to log in? Why do you need my email? Just let me change things. Or like, why does control panel? It should be illegal that control panel takes like a good 3 minutes just to start up. Just to start up this little like 90s looking window. Like, what's going on? Dude, I miss the Radeon software so much, and I'm glad I'm reunited with it. Another pro I forgot to mention was that this card is like an overclocking monster. Like, I cannot stress this enough. I heard that this card and the 6900 XT were like extremely good overclockers. Like, you could get away with some pretty absurd stuff with them, but like I couldn't really put it, like, I couldn't really grasp it in my mind until I had it in my hands and I started overclocking it, and I started like I started just raising their frequency, all like, okay, it has to crash at some point, right? I just keep going and going and going. Not once while I was overclocking it did it crash or anything drastic like that. It obviously wasn't anything catastrophic, but it wasn't even like a minor inconvenience, like, oh, the game closed or something like that. So it's insane just how well this card like overclocks. Like, my numbers in the overclocking screenshot look absurd, but that's me being conservative, believe it or not. Again, I can't promise every 6800 XT will be like that, though. I might have just gotten a golden sample, just won the Silicon Lottery, I guess. I'm not sure. This is the only 6800 XT I have, so it's not like I can test it. So, all of that said, the card is well worth it, which is awesome. It's more than I ever expected, which is amazing. That's really nice. I was basically getting, like I said, 4K 120 FPS in a lot of games, and this card, it performs extremely well at 1440p. It has a weird quirk where the lower the resolution, the better it scales. It's weird how the 6000 series does that. So I think this is where something like FSR could come in handy. I have a really big 4K display, but if you wanted to play games in 4K and you had maybe like a 32 inch instead of like a 43 inch monitor, you could probably set the RSR or the FSR resolution to match that of 1440p, and then you probably wouldn't even notice, but you'd still get like amazing performance because it's 1440p, and that's what this card excels at. That was something I wanted to mention. So I was running all of my FSR at ultra quality, but maybe if I set it to something like balanced, or like I said, 1440p was an option for the driver level FSR. If I had done something like that, I totally could have hit 120 FPS in all of those ray trace games perfectly fine with like zero struggles. I wouldn't be surprised if that was probably the performance I would have gotten. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm not exactly like, I know I did a little bit of bashing on NVIDIA. That's just because I was kind of stuck with that card for like a few months, and I kind of had to relearn all the things I didn't like about having NVIDIA. Much like I'm sure I'll relearn all of the things I didn't like about having AMD while I work with this card a little longer. I don't really consider myself a fanboy, though. I typically jump between vendors like every time I upgrade. It's really funny. I started out with a RX 570, then I went to the 2080, then I went back to the 6800 XT, and before that, before the 570, I had like a 1070, a GTX 1070. It was like a mobile 1070, and then even before that, it was like a Radeon. What is it, like R7 270? It was one of those lower end cards. So like I basically jump back and forth every generation. I wouldn't be surprised if like next gen I might look at a 4080. But that's just me. I kind of like jumping around a lot. I don't really care about the brand I get, though. Like I said earlier, I do plan to play around with Linux, so maybe an AMD card would be advantageous there. I'm not sure. A lot of the time when I buy a card, it's just the one that makes the most sense. And in this case, like I said, Linux, and then also like I kind of miss the AMD software, and also like I wanted something a little cheaper than the 3080. Like the 6800 XT in my very specific case just happened to make a lot more sense than the 3080. Otherwise, I probably would have gone with the 3080. But I mean, they perform about equal, so it ultimately doesn't matter. Just buy whichever one you like. But I'm sure you'll be happy regardless. I was more than happy, even paying like MSRP for this card. So I mean, seems pretty great. I'm going to be wrapping up the video from here. It's late at night and I should probably go to bed, so everyone have a good one.